Story 1. I've been working as a librarian for about 6 years now. Started right after getting my library science degree because I genuinely love helping people find information and resources. Most of my job involves helping students with research, recommending books, and managing our community programs. I work at the main branch downtown, which serves thousands of people every week from all walks of life. Libraries have pretty straightforward policies. You need a library card to check out materials, and getting a card is free. You just need to show proof of address and fill out a simple form. We bend over backwards to help people access our services, including offering temporary cards for visitors and helping people replace lost identification. The whole process takes maybe 5 minutes. Last Thursday afternoon was busy, but normal until this woman came in with a boy who looked about 8 years old. She was pushing one of our book carts that was completely loaded with children's books, adult novels, and DVDs. I'm talking at least 30 items stacked high. She rolled the cart right up to the circulation desk where I was working. "Karen, I need to check all these out." Me, "Sure. Can I see your library card?" Karen, "I don't have one." Me, "No problem. Library cards are free. I can help you sign up right now. It just takes a few minutes." Karen, "I don't want to sign up for anything. I just want to borrow these books." Me, "I understand, but you need a library card to check out materials. It's free and only requires basic information." Karen, "That's ridiculous. This is a public library funded by taxpayers. I shouldn't need permission to use it." Me, "The card system helps us keep track of materials and make sure books get returned for other people to use." Karen, "I'll bring them back. I don't need some government database tracking what I read." Her son was looking embarrassed and kept tugging on her sleeve. Son, "Mom, can we just get the card?" Karen, "No, honey. This lady is being unreasonable." Me, "Ma'am, I'm happy to help you get a card right now. You just need to show ID and proof of address." Karen, "I don't have to prove anything to you. Education is a right, not a privilege." Me, "I completely agree that education is important. That's why library cards are free and available to everyone." Karen, "Then let me check out these books without jumping through your bureaucratic hoops." Me, "I wish I could, but our system requires a card number to process checkouts. It's not something I can override." Karen, "This is discrimination. You're denying my child access to books." Other patrons were starting to stare. I tried to keep my voice calm and professional. Me, "Your child can absolutely access books. We just need to get you set up with a library card first." Karen, "I want to speak to your supervisor." Me, "Let me get the head librarian for you." My supervisor has been working in libraries for over 20 years. She's dealt with every possible situation and always stays professional. Head librarian, "I understand you have concerns about our card policy." Karen, "Your staff is refusing to let me check out books for my son's education." Head librarian, "We'd be happy to help you get a library card so you can check out materials." Karen, "I shouldn't need a card. This is a public service." Head librarian, "Library cards are how we manage our collection and ensure materials are returned. They're free and take just a few minutes to obtain." Karen, "This is government overreach. I'm going to sue the city for denying my constitutional rights." Head librarian, "Ma'am, I need you to lower your voice. You're disturbing other patrons." Karen, "I'll speak as loud as I want. This is America." She was getting louder and more aggressive. Other people were starting to leave the area. Karen, "You people are what's wrong with public services. Lazy government workers who don't want to do their jobs." Head librarian, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave if you continue being disruptive." Karen, "You can't kick me out of a public building. I pay taxes." Head librarian, "You're verbally harassing staff and disturbing other patrons. That's grounds for removal." Karen, "This is illegal. I'm calling my lawyer." Head librarian, "You're welcome to do that, but you need to leave now." Karen, "Fine, but you'll be hearing from the city council about this." She stormed out with her son, leaving the cart full of books behind. The poor kid looked mortified. After they left, my supervisor filled out an incident report and added Karen's description to our problem patron list. We deal with difficult people occasionally, but rarely anyone that aggressive over something so simple. 2 days later, I was working the afternoon shift when a woman approached my desk. She was wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap, but something about her seemed familiar. Woman: "Hi, I'd like to get a library card." Me, of course. "I just need to see some identification and proof of address." She handed me a driver's license with a different name than the woman from Thursday, but I recognized her voice immediately. Me: "Have you been to our library before?" Woman: "No, never been here." I excused myself and went to check our security footage from Thursday. Sure enough, it was the same person. I called my supervisor over. "Head librarian, can I help you with something?" Woman: "I'm just trying to get a library card." Head librarian: "Ma'am, you were here 2 days ago causing a disturbance. You're not allowed to use our services." Woman: "I don't know what you're talking about. I've never been here before." Head librarian: "We have security footage. You're the same person who threatened to sue us and verbally harassed our staff." Woman: "This is a case of mistaken identity." Head librarian: "You're banned from this library. You need to leave immediately." Woman: "You can't ban me from a public library." Head librarian: "We absolutely can ban patrons who threaten staff and cause disturbances." Woman: "I'm using a different name. You can't prove anything." She realized what she just admitted and her face went red. Head librarian: "You just confirmed you're the same person trying to circumvent our ban." Woman: "This is entrapment." Security arrived and escorted her out. My supervisor immediately called the other branches in our system to share her photo and description. Head librarian: "She's now permanently banned from all library branches in the county." The next week, we got a call from the East Branch saying the same woman had tried to get a card there using yet another fake name. They recognized her from the photo we'd shared and refused service. A month later, my supervisor told me that Karen had actually followed through on her threat to contact the city council. She filed a formal complaint claiming we'd violated her rights. Head librarian: "The city attorney reviewed our policies and security footage. They completely supported our decision to ban her." Head librarian: "Apparently she demanded they force us to give her a library card." The attorney explained that library cards aren't constitutional rights and that we have the authority to ban disruptive patrons. The whole situation was absurd. She could have gotten a free library card in 5 minutes, but instead chose to cause a scene, lie about her identity, and waste everyone's time. All because she didn't want to fill out a simple form. 6 months later, she's still banned from every library in our system. Her son is old enough to get his own card when he turns 18, but until then, her stubbornness cost him access to thousands of books and resources. Sometimes I wonder if she ever realizes that her entitled attitude backfired completely. Instead of spending 5 minutes getting a card, she's now permanently locked out of the entire library system. Story 2. I've been working as a server at Bella Vista, one of our city's upscale Italian restaurants, for about 3 years now. The job pays well because of the clientele. We get a lot of business professionals, couples celebrating anniversaries, and people marking special occasions. The atmosphere is elegant, but not stuffy, with dim lighting, white tablecloths, and a wine list that costs more than most people's grocery budget. I started here right after finishing culinary school when I realized I wanted to learn more about the front-of-house operations before opening my own place someday. The money is good, but more importantly, I've learned a lot about customer service, wine pairing, and what makes a restaurant successful. Most of our guests are wonderful. They appreciate good food and service, tip well, and understand that quality dining comes with certain expectations. Our reservation system is pretty strict, especially on weekend nights. We're booked solid most Friday and Saturday evenings, sometimes weeks in advance. Walk-ins are rare, And when we do have a table available, there's usually a good reason like a last-minute cancellation or a no-show. That particular Saturday evening started busy but manageable. It was around 7 p.m., right in the middle of our dinner rush, when this middle-aged woman walked through our front door. She wasn't dressed for our usual clientele. She had on casual clothes and sneakers, while most of our guests come in business attire or evening wear. She approached our host's stand with a confident stride, like she owned the place. "Karen, I need a table for one, please. Somewhere nice, with a view of the kitchen if possible." Host: "Good evening, ma'am. Do you have a reservation with us tonight?" Karen: "No, but it's my birthday, so I'm sure you can accommodate me." The host checked our system, probably already knowing what he'd find. Host: "I'm sorry, but we're completely booked this evening. Our next available table for walk-ins would be Tuesday at 6 p.m. Karen: "That's ridiculous. It's my special day, and I specifically chose this restaurant to celebrate. Can't you make an exception?" Host: "I understand it's your birthday, but unfortunately, we don't have any available tables. I'd be happy to put you on our wait list in case we have a cancellation." Karen: "Fine, I'll wait. But I expect to be seated within the next few minutes." The host explained that the wait list didn't work that way. She might be waiting several hours, if a table became available at all. But she insisted on staying, so he took her information and told her we'd call if anything opened up. About 30 minutes later, we did have a cancellation. A party of 4 had called to say they couldn't make it due to a family emergency. The host seated her at a small table near the back of the restaurant, and she ended up in my section. Me: "Good evening. My name is Sarah, and I'll be taking care of you tonight. Can I start you off with something to drink?" Karen: "Finally, I've been waiting forever. This is completely unacceptable service already." Me: "I apologize for the wait. As I understand it, you were on our wait list as a walk-in, and we were able to accommodate you when we had a cancellation." Karen: "Whatever. I want your best bottle of wine, and I want to see your chef's tasting menu. It's my birthday, so I expect everything to be complimentary." I was taken aback by her assumption that we'd be giving her a free meal. Me: "Happy birthday. However, I should clarify that we don't typically comp entire meals just for birthdays. We do have a complimentary dessert we can provide with a candle." Karen: "That's not good enough. I'm a food blogger with thousands of followers. If you treat me well, I'll write a glowing review. If not, well, you don't want to know what I'll say about this place." This was a red flag. In my experience, real food bloggers don't usually announce themselves like that, and they certainly don't demand free meals in exchange for reviews. Me: "I appreciate that, but our policy is that all meals need to be paid for. I'd be happy to recommend some of our most popular dishes, and like I mentioned, we can certainly provide a complimentary birthday dessert." Karen: "This is terrible customer service. Fine, just bring me your most expensive tasting menu and a bottle of your best wine. But I'm not happy about having to pay for my own birthday dinner." I went to the kitchen to put in her order and mentioned the situation to our manager. He agreed that her behavior was concerning, but said to proceed with service as normal and keep an eye on her. The tasting menu at Bella Vista is 7 courses and costs about $150 per person. With the wine pairing, her bill was going to be well over $300. For someone who had expected everything to be free, she seemed awfully confident about ordering such an expensive meal. I brought out her wine, and the first course a delicate seafood appetizer that our chef is known for. She took a few bites and seemed to be enjoying it, even taking pictures with her phone like she really was a food blogger. About halfway through the first course, she suddenly started making a face and holding her stomach. Karen: "Oh no, something's wrong. I think I'm getting sick." Me: "I'm sorry to hear that. Are you feeling okay?" Karen: "I think there might be something wrong with this food. My stomach is cramping, and I feel nauseous. This might be food poisoning." She started making a big show of looking ill, holding her stomach and making groaning noises loud enough for other diners to hear. Karen: I can't believe this is happening on my birthday. Your food has made me sick. I immediately went to get my manager, who came over to assess the situation. Manager, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. Can you describe what you're experiencing? Karen, severe stomach cramps, nausea, probably food poisoning from that seafood. I can't eat any more of this meal, and obviously I shouldn't have to pay for food that made me sick. Manager, of course, we take food safety very seriously. Let me get our chef to come speak with you about the ingredients in that dish. This seemed to make her nervous, but she agreed. Our head chef, Marco, came out from the kitchen to talk to her. He's been cooking professionally for over 20 years and takes any food safety concern very seriously. Chef Marco, good evening, ma'am. I understand you're feeling ill after eating our crudo course? Karen, yes, definitely food poisoning. Probably from bad fish. Chef Marco, I'm sorry to hear that. We received that fish this morning from our supplier, and it's been properly stored and prepared. Can I ask about your symptoms? Karen, stomach cramps, nausea, the usual food poisoning symptoms. Chef Marco was studying her face carefully, and I could see recognition dawning in his eyes. Chef Marco, ma'am, have you dined with us before? Karen, no, this is my first time here. Why? Chef Marco, you look very familiar. Excuse me for just one moment. He went back to the kitchen and returned a few minutes later with a folder. Inside were printed photos and descriptions, apparently some kind of reference material. Chef Marco, ma'am, I'm going to need to see your identification. Karen, why? I'm the victim here. Your food made me sick. Chef Marco, because you're listed in our industry blacklist as a serial Dine-and-dash customer who has defrauded multiple restaurants in this city. The color drained from her face. She tried to stand up like she was going to leave, but our manager blocked her path. Manager, ma'am, you're not going anywhere until we sort this out. Chef Marco showed me the folder, and sure enough, there was her photo along with detailed descriptions of her scam tactics. Apparently, she would order expensive meals, eat most of the food, then claim food poisoning or find some other excuse to avoid paying. Chef Marco, according to this report, you've pulled the exact same food poisoning scam at least 6 other restaurants in the past year. Always halfway through the first course, always demanding the entire meal be comped. Karen, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm genuinely sick. Manager, if you're genuinely experiencing food poisoning, then you should see a doctor immediately. I'll call an ambulance right now. Karen, no, I'm feeling better now. Maybe it was just something I ate earlier. Manager, so you're no longer experiencing food poisoning symptoms. Karen, I just want to leave now. Manager, I'm afraid that's not possible. You've ordered an expensive meal with the apparent intention of defrauding our restaurant. I'm calling the police. She tried to make a run for the door, but our host and manager blocked her exit. Within 10 minutes, 2 police officers arrived and took statements from our staff and reviewed the blacklist documentation. Officer, ma'am, you're under arrest for attempted fraud and theft of services. You have the right to remain silent. As they were handcuffing her, she kept protesting her innocence and claiming this was all a misunderstanding. Karen, this is harassment. I was actually sick. You can't prove anything. Officer, ma'am, we've been looking for you for weeks. You have outstanding warrants for similar incidents at 3 other restaurants. It turned out that her scam had been more extensive than we realized. She'd been hitting upscale restaurants throughout the city for months, always using the same fake food poisoning routine to avoid paying for expensive meals. The police found additional evidence in her purse, printed menus from other high-end restaurants and notes about their layouts and staff schedules. She'd been planning these scams systematically. After she was arrested, our manager shared the incident report with the local restaurant association. Within days, her photo and description were circulated to every upscale restaurant in the city. We also learned that she wasn't even celebrating a birthday that was just part of her routine to try to get sympathy and free food. the food blogger claimed was also completely fabricated. About a week later, I saw a news article about her arrest. She'd been charged with multiple counts of fraud and theft, with a total value of over $2,000 from various restaurants. The article mentioned that she'd been sentenced to community service and ordered to pay restitution to all the restaurants she'd scammed. The incident taught me to trust my instincts when something feels off about a customer. Her demanding free food, the fake food poisoning act, and her general demeanor had all been red flags that I'd noticed but initially dismissed. It also showed me how important it is for restaurants to communicate with each other about problem customers. The blacklist system had worked exactly as intended. It helped us identify a repeat offender before she could complete her scam. Most importantly, it reminded me that the vast majority of our customers are honest people who just want to enjoy a good meal. It's unfortunate that a few bad actors make us all more suspicious, but protecting our business and honest customers has to be the priority. Story 3. I've been working construction for about 12 years now, mostly commercial and residential projects around the city. It's hard work, but I like building things, and the pay is good enough to support my family. Right now, our crew is working on a new office building downtown that's supposed to be finished by the end of the year. The job site is pretty typical for a project this size. We've got heavy equipment, concrete trucks coming and going, and crews working on different parts of the building throughout the day. Safety is a big deal on any construction site, so we have all the usual precautions in place. There are warning signs posted everywhere, orange safety fencing around the perimeter, and strict rules about who can be on the property. Everyone who works on the site has to wear hard hats, safety vests, steel-toed boots, and other protective equipment depending on what they're doing. Visitors need to check in with the site supervisor and get temporary safety gear before they're allowed past the fencing. It's all pretty standard stuff that any construction worker knows by heart. The building we're working on is in a mixed neighborhood with some older houses nearby. Most of the neighbors have been pretty understanding about the noise and activity. Construction is part of city life, and we try to be respectful by starting at reasonable hours and following all the local ordinances about when we can use loud equipment. We usually start work around 7 in the morning and try to avoid the really noisy stuff before 8 out of courtesy to people who might be sleeping in. The city allows construction noise until 6 in the evening on weekdays, so we're well within our rights to be using jackhammers and heavy machinery during normal business hours. Last Tuesday morning, I was operating a jackhammer to break up some old concrete in what will eventually be the building's lobby. It was around 11 in the morning, so we've been working for a few hours already. The jackhammer is loud, but that's just part of the job, and we always wear proper hearing protection. I was focused on my work when I noticed some commotion near the site entrance. One of the other guys was waving his arms and pointing toward the building. I shut off the jackhammer to see what was going on. That's when I saw this woman marching across the job site like she owned the place. She wasn't wearing any safety equipment, no hard hat, no safety vest, just regular street clothes. She was walking right through areas where we had equipment running and materials stacked up. My foreman, Tony, immediately started walking toward her. Safety violations are serious business on a construction site, and unauthorized people can get hurt or cause accidents. Tony, ma'am, you can't be in here without proper safety equipment. But she completely ignored him and kept walking straight toward me. I could see she was angry about something, and I had a feeling I knew what it was about. Karen, are you the one making all that noise? Me, ma'am, you need to leave the construction site. This area is restricted. Karen, I live right over there, and you people are driving me crazy with all this racket. She pointed toward a row of houses about a block away from where we were working. Me, I understand it's loud, but we're working during legal hours. You really need to speak with our site supervisor and get off the work area. Karen, I don't need to speak with anyone. I need you to stop that horrible noise right now. Tony had caught up to us by this point, and he was not happy about the safety violation. Tony, ma'am, I'm the foreman on this site. You're trespassing on a restricted construction zone without proper safety equipment. I need you to leave immediately. Karen, I don't care about your restrictions. That noise is unacceptable. Tony, the noise is from legitimate construction work during permitted hours. But right now, my concern is your safety. This is a dangerous area. Karen, the only dangerous thing here is that awful machine. She pointed at my jackhammer like it was some kind of weapon. Tony, that's a standard piece of construction equipment. But you're standing in a hard hat zone without protection, and there's heavy machinery operating all around us. Karen, I don't need a hard hat to tell you people to be quiet. Another worker had walked over to see what was happening. Construction sites are tight communities, and when there's a problem, everyone wants to make sure their coworkers are okay. Other worker, lady, there are signs posted all over the place. This is a restricted area. Karen, I can read, but I also have rights as a taxpayer and a homeowner. Tony, your rights don't include trespassing on private construction sites. I'm asking you nicely to leave before someone gets hurt. Karen, the only person getting hurt is me from all this noise pollution. Me, ma'am, we start work at 7 in the morning and follow all city noise ordinances. We're not doing anything wrong. Karen, 11 o'clock in the morning is too early for this kind of noise. Other worker, 11 o'clock. Lady, most construction crews have been working for 4 hours by 11 o'clock. Karen, I don't care what other people do. I need peace and quiet. Tony, if you have a noise complaint, you need to contact the city permits office. But you can't just walk onto an active construction site. Karen, watch me. I'm not leaving until you promise to stop using that machine. She actually sat down on a stack of lumber, like she was planning to stay there until we gave in to her demands. Tony, ma'am, I'm not joking about the safety issues. We have heavy equipment moving around, and you're not wearing any protective gear. Karen, I'll take my chances. Someone needs to stand up to you people. Tony looked at me and the other worker, and we all knew this wasn't going to end well. You can't reason with someone who thinks construction workers should stop working because they don't like the noise. Tony, okay, I'm calling the police. You're trespassing, and you're creating a safety hazard. Karen, good, call them. I want to file a complaint about noise violations. Tony pulled out his phone and dialed, while Karen continued her rant about how inconsiderate we were being. She seemed to think the police were going to take her side and force us to stop working. Karen, you people think you can just make noise whenever you want. Well, I'm going to put a stop to it. Me, ma'am, we have permits for this work. We're following all the regulations. Karen, I don't care about your permits. I care about my quality of life. Other worker, what did you think was going to happen when you bought a house next to a construction zone? Karen, this wasn't a construction zone when I moved here. Other worker, the permits have been posted for months. This didn't just appear overnight. Karen, I shouldn't have to research construction permits to live peacefully in my own home. About 10 minutes later, 2 police officers arrived at the site. Tony met them at the entrance and explained the situation. Then they walked over to where Karen was still sitting on the lumber pile. Police Officer 1. Ma'am, we understand you have a noise complaint. Karen, yes, these people are violating noise ordinances and disturbing the peace. Police Officer 1. What time did the noise start? Karen, they've been making noise since 7 this morning. Police Officer 2. And what time is it now? Karen, it's 11:15. The officers looked at each other, then at Tony. Police Officer 1. Are you operating within permitted hours? Tony, yes, sir. We have all the proper permits, and city ordinance allows construction noise from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekdays. Police Officer 2. Ma'am, if they're working within permitted hours, there's no noise violation. Karen, but it's too loud. Police Officer 1. Construction work is loud by nature. That's why there are designated hours when it's allowed. Karen, this is ridiculous. What about my rights? Police Officer 2. Ma'am, I need to ask, do you have permission to be on this construction site? Karen, I don't need permission. I'm filing a complaint. Police Officer 2, actually, you do need permission. This is posted as a restricted area. The officer pointed to the multiple signs around the site that clearly stated authorized personnel only and hard hat area PPE required. Police Officer 1, ma'am, you're currently trespassing on a restricted construction site. You're also violating posted safety requirements by not wearing proper protective equipment. Karen, what? I'm the victim here. Police Officer 2, I'm going to have to issue you a citation for criminal trespass and violation of posted safety signage. Karen's face went completely white. She obviously hadn't expected this turn of events. Karen, you can't be serious. I called you. Police Officer 1, you called us to report a non-existent noise violation while you were actively trespassing. The construction work is legal, but your presence here isn't. Police Officer 2, the fine for these violations is $425, and you'll need to attend a mandatory safety seminar as part of the municipal penalty. Karen, a safety seminar? This is insane. Police Officer 1, the seminar covers construction site safety and the importance of following posted signage. It's designed to prevent exactly this type of situation. Karen, I'm not attending any seminar. I'm fighting this ticket. Police Officer 2, that's your right, ma'am. But in the meantime, you need to leave this property immediately. Karen stood up from the lumber pile, looking around like she expected someone to support her. But all of us construction workers were just watching quietly. Karen, this is harassment. I'm being punished for standing up for my rights. Police Officer 1, ma'am, you're being cited for breaking the law. If you'd like to file a noise complaint through proper channels, you can contact the City Permits Office. Karen, the City Permits Office will just give me the runaround. Police Officer 2, maybe, but walking onto an active construction site isn't the right way to handle the situation. As the officers escorted her toward the site exit, Karen kept complaining about how unfair everything was. Karen, I shouldn't have to put up with this noise. I work from home. Police Officer 1, then you might want to consider using headphones or finding somewhere else to work during construction hours. Karen, I shouldn't have to change my entire routine because of them. Police Officer 2, construction is temporary, ma'am. The building will be finished eventually. Karen, eventually isn't good enough. After she left, the officers stayed for a few minutes to make sure we had all our permits and safety procedures in order. Everything checked out fine, and they complimented Tony on how well organized the site was. Police Officer 1, you guys handled that perfectly. Never engage with trespassers, just call us immediately. Tony, we've had a few noise complaints over the months, but nobody's ever just walked onto the site before. Police Officer 2, some people think being upset gives them special rights. Usually, a citation helps them understand the actual rules. After the officers left, we all had a good laugh about what had just happened. It was one of those situations where someone's plan backfired so completely that you almost felt bad for them. Almost. Other worker, she called the cops on herself and didn't even realize it. Me, I love how she thought they'd shut down a legal construction project because she didn't like the noise. Tony, the safety seminar is actually a pretty good punishment. Maybe she'll learn something about construction site hazards. We got back to work after that, and I fired up the jackhammer again. The noise echoed through the neighborhood just like it had before, but now I knew that at least one neighbor had learned an expensive lesson about trespassing and safety regulations. I haven't seen Karen around the site since then, but I heard from one of the guys that she actually did show up to the safety seminar. Apparently, she spent the whole time complaining about how unfair her situation was, but she had to sit through the entire presentation about construction hazards and why protective equipment is mandatory. The building project is still on schedule, and we're making good progress. Most of the neighbors have been understanding about the temporary inconvenience, and the ones who do have concerns know the proper way to address them. It's amazing what a difference it makes when people follow the rules instead of trying to take matters into their own hands. Story 4. I've been working as a lifeguard at Sunset Beach for 3 summers now. It's not the most glamorous job, but I love being outdoors and the pay helps me get through college. Most days are pretty routine, watching swimmers, doing equipment checks, and helping lost kids find their parents. But some days you get reminded that common sense isn't actually that common. I started this job when I was 17, right after I got my lifeguard certification. My dad thought it would be good for me to have a summer job instead of just hanging around the house playing video games. The training was tough. We had to learn water rescue techniques, CPR, first aid, and how to handle all kinds of emergency situations. They also taught us about dealing with difficult beachgoers, but nothing really prepares you for some of the entitled behavior you see. The beach where I work is pretty popular with both locals and tourists. We get families with little kids, teenagers hanging out, older folks taking walks, and everything in between. Most people are great and just want to enjoy their day at the beach. But during peak season, we also get some people who seem to think the beach exists just for them. Yesterday was one of those perfect beach days, sunny, warm, with gentle waves. I was doing my afternoon equipment drill, which involves practicing rescue scenarios with a rescue board and checking all our safety gear. It's required training that we have to do every shift to stay certified. Part of the drill involves going into the water with the rescue board to practice approach techniques. I was about halfway through the drill when I noticed this woman setting up her spot right at the waterline. She had spread out an expensive-looking beach towel and was arranging what looked like a designer handbag and matching accessories right next to where the waves were reaching the sand. The tide was coming in, which meant the water line was gradually moving higher up the beach. Anyone who spends time at the beach knows you don't put your stuff that close to the water unless you want it to get wet. There are signs posted all along the beach warning people about this exact thing. I finished my drill and was carrying the rescue board back to the lifeguard station when I heard someone yelling, "Karen, hey, you got my bag wet." I looked over and saw the same woman standing over her handbag, which was now sitting in about 2 inches of water. The waves had reached her setup, just like anyone could have predicted. I'm sorry, what happened? Karen, you splashed water all over my things with that board. This bag costs more than you make in a month. I looked at where she was pointing. Her bag was sitting right in the surf zone, exactly where the waves naturally reach during high tide. Ma'am, I think the waves just came up naturally. The tide's been coming in all afternoon. Karen, don't lie to me. I saw you splashing around with that thing, and now my bag is soaked. She was pulling items out of her wet handbag, a phone, wallet, sunglasses, makeup. Everything was dripping with seawater. I understand you're upset, but I was doing required safety drills about 50 feet down the beach. The waves reaching your bag is just normal tide movement. Karen, normal? There's nothing normal about this. I put my bag in a safe spot, and you ruined it with your reckless behavior. I looked at where she had set up. She was literally in the surf zone, the area where waves regularly reach during high tide. It was like setting up in the middle of a parking lot and complaining when cars drove by. Ma'am, you placed your belongings right at the waterline. The tide comes in every day, and the waves naturally reach this area. Karen, I placed my belongings on dry sand. They were nowhere near the water when I put them down. That might have been true an hour ago, but anyone familiar with beaches knows that the water line moves. The dry sand at low tide becomes underwater at high tide. It's basic beach knowledge. I understand, but the tide changes throughout the day. That's why we have signs posted warning people not to leave belongings near the waterline. Karen, what signs? I don't see any signs. I pointed to the large yellow sign posted about 20 feet away that clearly read, "Warning, do not leave belongings near waterline. Tide levels change throughout the day." Karen, that sign is way over there. How was I supposed to see that? Me, there are actually several signs along this stretch of beach, ma'am. It's posted information for everyone's safety. Karen, well, I didn't see them, and even if I had, that doesn't give you the right to splash water all over my personal property. She was getting more agitated, and I could see other beachgoers starting to look over at the commotion. Me, ma'am, I wasn't splashing water. I was conducting required safety drills, and the waves that reached your bag are natural wave action from the incoming tide. Karen, don't mansplain the ocean to me. I know what I saw. She started pulling out her phone, which was thankfully in a waterproof case. Karen, I'm recording this whole conversation because I'm going to sue you and this beach for property damage. She pointed the phone at me and started recording. Karen, this lifeguard just destroyed my designer handbag by splashing water everywhere during some unnecessary drill. This bag cost $1,500. I stayed calm because I knew I hadn't done anything wrong, and getting defensive would just make things worse. Me, you're welcome to record, ma'am. This is a public beach, and the water reached your belongings due to natural tide movement, not anything I did. Karen, that's a lie. I specifically chose a spot away from the water, and you came over here splashing with that board. Me, I was conducting drills about 50 feet down the beach from your location. The waves that wet your bag came from the natural surf, not from my activities. Karen, this is unacceptable. Someone needs to pay for my damaged property. A family nearby had stopped to watch what was happening. The dad came over. Dad, excuse me, but I saw the whole thing. She put her bag right where the waves were reaching, and the lifeguard was doing drills way down the beach. Karen, stay out of this. This doesn't concern you. Dad, I'm just saying what I saw. The waves came up naturally and got her stuff wet. Karen, you don't know what you're talking about. She turned back to me, still recording. Karen, I want your name and your supervisor's contact information right now. Me, my name is displayed on my lifeguard chair, and you can contact beach management through the number posted at all the entrances. Karen, that's not good enough. I want to speak to someone in charge immediately. Me, the beach supervisor makes rounds every few hours. You're welcome to wait and speak with him when he comes by. Karen, I'm not waiting around. I have plans. This whole day is ruined because of your negligence. An older woman who had been sunbathing nearby got up and walked over. Older woman, honey, I've been coming to this beach for 20 years. You can't put your things that close to the water and expect them to stay dry. Karen, I didn't put them close to the water. The water came to them. Older woman, that's how tides work, dear. The water level changes throughout the day. Karen, I don't need a science lesson from you people. She was still recording, panning the camera between me and the people who were trying to help her understand what happened. Karen, all of you are ganging up on me to protect this incompetent lifeguard. Me, ma'am, I understand you're frustrated about your belongings getting wet. In the future, I'd recommend setting up further back from the waterline to avoid this issue. Karen, there won't be a future. I'm never coming back to this terrible beach with incompetent staff. She started gathering up her wet things, still complaining loudly. Karen, $1,500. That's what this bag cost, and now it's ruined. The dad who had spoken up earlier shook his head. Dad, maybe don't bring a $1,500 bag to the beach next time. Karen, I should be able to bring whatever I want to a public beach without having it destroyed by negligent employees. She finished packing up her things and stormed off toward the parking lot, still recording herself talking about how she was going to sue everyone. After she left, several people came up to me to make sure I was okay and to confirm that I hadn't done anything wrong. Everyone who had witnessed the situation agreed that she had put her stuff in a bad spot and that the waves reaching her bag had nothing to do with my training drill. Older woman, some people just can't admit when they make a mistake. Dad, she's probably going to post that video somewhere and make herself look even more foolish. He was right. A few hours later, One of my coworkers showed me a TikTok video that someone had sent them. It was the woman from the beach, and she had posted the video she recorded with a caption about suing the beach for property damage. The video showed exactly what had happened, her arguing with me while standing in the surf zone with her wet bag, me calmly explaining about the tides and pointing to the warning signs, and other beachgoers trying to help her understand that she had made a mistake. But the comments section was not what she was probably hoping for. The top comment read, "Girl, you put a $1,500 bag on the beach next to the ocean and you're shocked it got wet." Another one said, "The audacity to blame the lifeguard for the tide coming in." Someone else wrote, "Man, this is the ocean. It does ocean things like having tides." The comments kept coming. Public service announcement, water is wet. Next she'll sue the sun for giving her a sunburn. Imagine being this confident while being this wrong. One person posted, "I'm a marine biologist and I can confirm that tides have been a thing for millions of years, well before this lifeguard was born." Another comment that got hundreds of likes said, "She really recorded herself being wrong and posted it thinking people would side with her." People were also pointing out that you could clearly see the warning signs in her own video, and that the lifeguard remained professional and calm throughout the entire interaction. Someone had even looked up the beach's website and posted screenshots of the posted rules that specifically warn against leaving belongings near the waterline. The video was getting thousands of views, but not the kind of attention she wanted. People were sharing it as an example of entitled behavior and lack of basic beach knowledge. By the next morning, my coworker told me the video had been deleted. Apparently, she couldn't handle the comments calling out her behavior and pointing out that she was completely wrong. But the internet never forgets. People had already screen recorded her video and were sharing it on other platforms. It became a popular example on Reddit's entitled people forums and various social media accounts that share videos of difficult customers. A few days later, someone who knew her personally posted in the comments of one of the shared videos. She deleted her entire TikTok account because she couldn't deal with everyone pointing out that she was wrong. The whole thing became a lesson for me about how social media can backfire when you're trying to shame someone else, but you're actually the one in the wrong. She thought she was going to get sympathy and support for her lawsuit, but instead she just documented her own embarrassing behavior for the world to see. My supervisor heard about the incident and reviewed the beach's security footage, which confirmed exactly what I had told him. He was satisfied that I had handled the situation appropriately and that the woman's claims were completely unfounded. "Supervisor, you did everything right. You stayed professional, you explained the situation clearly, and you didn't escalate the conflict. That's exactly how we want our staff to handle difficult beachgoers." Me? It was pretty obvious she just made a mistake and didn't want to admit it. Supervisor, the funny thing is, if she had just accepted that she put her bag in the wrong spot, this whole thing would have been over in 30 seconds. Instead, she made a big scene and posted it online for everyone to see. The incident became something of a legend among the lifeguard staff. We still joke about it when we see people setting up too close to the waterline. We'll radio each other. Better warn them about the attacking tides before they call their lawyer. But it also reinforced an important lesson about dealing with entitled people. Sometimes the best thing you can do is stay calm, stick to the facts, and let them expose their own unreasonable behavior. She thought she was building a case against me, but she was actually just documenting proof that she was completely wrong.